hardcore and rewarding and deep that allows some of the players to step up and make up for, the shortcomings or inexperience of the other players.
Yeah.
Just so I can play more video games, really.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I have a couple of, I had a couple of final questions. Okay, the one question that somebody gave me that I thought was pretty good is, do you know what the thing chasing the guy in Canabalt looks like?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, that's a good question. That's a good answer too. I like that.
Which is weird. Any previous game I would have made, I totally would have known.
Well, you would have thought about it.
This is the first time where I felt confident enough in my choice of words, as it were, to not structure the thing behind it.
Okay, what do you think of the assessment of the game being a game about death? Is it? I mean, I've heard it described that way a lot, not just me. In a way, Out of This World is a game about death as well.
I think it's fine. I wouldn't say that was my intent.
Yeah.
But I don't see why it can't be. I think it can, whatever it makes sense, or however considering it is interesting or even inspirational to people. I think that's how they should consider it.
That's great. That's how all art should probably be.
Yeah.
Now,
so
keep going.
It was just not like it was definitely not me sitting down going, mortality.
Yeah. I can tell you, having worked as a PR, translation, whatever, interpretation for Japanese game designers for a long time, in addition to game design, they always end up making me do the translations. There's emails coming all the time from interviewers, magazines, reporters going, so when you did this in this game, was that a symbol of the player's limited ability to control? When you made the game like that, was that you trying to communicate to the player that even in an open world or whatever, they're not free? And the game designer's always like, what? No. It's like, I learned very slowly over the course of the years, it was kind of depressing that all of the stuff I really loved about Japanese games had been kind of an accident. So it's good to hear somebody willing to admit that you didn't think about it, and you want the player to think of stuff.
The idea that it's an accident, I just don't see how that possibly could minimize it or...
No, it doesn't, if you don't think about it.
From it. It can be, because really all it does is affect your view of the creator and not so much your view of the creation. You still go, man, I love all the things that this made me think of. I just wish the guy that made it was
on the same wavelength,
matched my internal projection.
I wish the guy who made the game was as smart as me.
Yeah. Which if I couldn't possibly feel bad about that.
Well, you get a lot of these people doing these interviews. They're like, and I mean, there was a couple of situations before where the guy's like, oh, just delete that question, and when you send it back, just make like it didn't exist. And then there's always like, oh, I think one of the questions got lost, and the guy will reply. And it's like, and then doing it in person, it's like, you can always see the person be kind of crushed a little bit because they wanted the game to be
right, and people do that. You project onto the creator, and it's you have to, maybe it's just safest to have your internal version of the creator, and then the actual version lives somewhere else. Neil Stephenson talks about that a lot. He writes these fascinating books, and then he goes and does interviews and doesn't blow people away with his amazing. He's just. I remember the author information on Snow Crash was this book was written in a basement while listening to depressing speed metal. It's and that's probably not a joke. Yeah. Well, it doesn't make Snow Crash any less inspirational or awesome or evocative.
No, it doesn't.
But it does mean it was written by a human. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it's great. It's good to know that people make these things, but you don't need to ever meet them. Yeah. As long as the thing is strong enough. Okay, another thing is, in Canabalt, I noticed this when I was playing Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360s. Whenever you hit an enemy, it starts counting up the combo in the middle of the screen, one hit, 5 hits, 6 hits. It's why can't they just give me that after the combo's over? So in Canabalt, can you make an option to turn off the timer, the distance until I die, and then show me at the end? Because I think one of the things that I love about Out of This World, and I know Shadow of the Colossus originally, they didn't want there to be a heads-up display on the screen. Right. But somebody on the team was like, well, without this, it won't be approached as sophisticated. People won't think it's as sophisticated. Literally, that's I've dug up. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Like so you can see the guy holding the sword.
Yeah.
So can you do an option to turn? I noticed you've been not opposed to changing stuff about the game with the updates. Just make it a little option.
Yeah, no, I honestly hadn't thought about it. I don't know how different it would make it feel.
I don't know.
I like the mini game or the distraction that it introduces, kind of.
Yeah.
Like I do like that part of it, where all the people have their like list of Cannabalt playing tips. And they're like, don't
look at the number.
Distance.
Yeah.
Right.
Never look down when when you're hanging off a building. Or
so
something.
I feel like with it not there, I don't know if it would be. It affects your sense of anticipation, and I think if I took it out, you would. I don't know if you would lose it or if it would. I feel like you go either way. Either you would be you'd have that anticipated feeling the whole time you're running, or else you wouldn't have it at all. And I don't know which way it would go. I've never tried it.
I've got a bunch of my friends. We talk about games a lot, and we talk about Canabalt a fair deal sometimes. And they're all like, "Yeah, it would be cool if you could turn the thing off." Like they'd like to.
Yeah, well, because something happens like when you know how far you've run, when you know that your best is 12,000 or something.
Yeah.
Having it show up creates this awesome feeling when you get close to it.
Yeah.
Like there's this
It's
management
like, I'm gonna beat it.
that it does. Yeah. And then all of the advice about don't watch the distance, like it starts to kind of get
the anticipation can make you shaky or
but that feeling I think is cool. Like that's my I started to get really excited about the game when it was starting to come together on day 5 of building the original Flash version.
Yeah.
It was when I was getting slightly sweaty palms playing something I made, and that I knew how it worked and I knew how it controlled, and it was I think it's partly because I knew that I was getting a little bit farther.
Yeah, because you could see the number.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know.
I know, because it's always, I played Final Fantasy 13 recently, and it's like, you're hitting the enemies, and it's just like, your sword just goes through the monster, and the monster just kind of flinches with a preset animation. There's just numbers flying out of it. It's like, it's like, is that what it is now? We've got 1080p graphics.
I don't like the arbitrary nature of it, but I like what I did for our Gravity Hook remake is instead of having it does count up your distance and everything, but there's something that I like much better, which is just sort of visual indicator, and it's something that wouldn't, if it worked in Canabalt, it would have to be done weirdly, but something you could do that would be more abstract but still have the same anticipatory effect would be to have a 1 kilometer till new record object. Something abstract, a bar or a structure that would zip by. So when you blew by that, you would know, whoa, I'm getting close.
Or maybe
I don't know how to communicate that.
Maybe how about every kilometer you have something in the background? Like a landmark, so that it's just every kilometer you go, you're getting another. Or maybe their number multiplies. Maybe you get more whatevers on the horizon, whatever those beings are.
Oh yeah,
you get more of those or something.
Things.
I mean,
there's a couple of.
But then again, how would you handle that?
There's a couple of little landmarks in the game, but I was having trouble coming up with expressive, identifiable landmarks that would exist way in the back that way, because those are the ones that you can actually notice because they're going slow enough that you can. There's a funny thing, if you're jumping across 30 buildings, only a few of them are going to give you enough free time to examine the background. And so
maybe like a meteorite that shoots in front of the foreground.
Yeah. Oh, that was actually mocked up and then not quite put in. This was more of an orbital laser thing.
Oh yeah.
That was mocked up and then sort of internally voted down.
Maybe you could see, would 2 of them go by when you go 2 kilometers, 3 when you go 3, like the fireworks in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. I think there's space for that, and it would probably be more satisfying than just having a relatively arbitrary number. But at least in the case of Canabalt and something like Gravity Hook, you have it's not a purely arbitrary number. It's not representing some abstract, well, I leveled this thing up and I did this and I got X amount of points or something. It's a very clear, it's tied to your feet moving on the rooftop.
Yeah.
So.
But 1 meter is definitely not to scale.
It's.
Is it to scale? What?
It's not way off.
It's
the distances are roughly to scale.
Yeah.
The speed is
A bit jacked up. Yeah. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. A lot of it, we get a lot of Canabalt fan fiction, and a lot of it revolves.
Does the guy die at the end of everyone?
Usually they're kind of open-ended, which is kind of a cool thing. But a couple of them project that he is like a guy learning that he has superpowers.
Yeah.
Like they actually ground the sort of absurd gameplay necessary speed into like a canonical like aspect of their understanding of the world. Like he's definitely read as a guy who's like under pressure figures out like Unbreakable style that he has these crazy powers that he never knew he had.
Which now he can run super fast.
Yeah, which is the least intended thing that went into the game, and my absolute favorite way to think about it now.